Do we believe this? We've heard this before.
Do I think that Tyson Fury boxes again? Yeah. Anthony Joshua will box any heavyweight in the world. That is a fact. If the Fury fight doesn't happen, mark my words, we get Joshua versus Bakole in Africa.
I think Frank Warren was giving a lecture to Ben Shalom about legal stuff. Isn't it the same Frank Warren that said he was going to sue everybody over the gloves with Fraser Clark and Fabio Wardley? Don't see any writs there.
I don't want to talk about it, judges, decisions and all of it. I have another chance.
Who would you prefer to fight, Dmitrii, or would you prefer to fight Arthur?
The best man will win, and I look to fight who's next.
The fight that really intrigues me, Canelo Crawford.
I'm not interested, I never have been interested in Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. I think it's a battle of their fathers' names. Is your brief to the promoter that you have in situ at this moment in time, which is Ben Shalom, get me a world title shot in 2025, I expect to be fighting for a world title.
That's what
End
it
of
is.
discussion.
End of discussion.
Welcome to episode 103 of Talk Boxing with Simon Jordan and Spencer Oliver. Today we're joined by Olympic bronze medalist and light heavyweight contender Josh Buatsi, making his debut on Talk Boxing. Yep. Nice to see you, Josh.
Thank you, thank you.
We're going to start the show with this seemingly never-ending, ongoing rancor between Frank Warren and Ben Shalom, the latest incarnation, which has moved on from Fabio Wardley's gloves and Fraser Clark and whatever else, to the situation surrounding the Liam Cameron-Ben Whittaker rematch and what's going on there. So let's have a listen to Frank Warren first, who spoke to IFL TV, and after that we'll listen to Ben Shalom, who spoke to us on Talksport.
As of today, right now, no fight's been made. Queensberry can't be sued for promoter-to-promoter negotiations. I never heard anything like that. A fighter can't be sued for wanting to fight. And if Boxer want to go legal, then get on with it. You know, that's up to them. You can't be sued for talking about a fight.
All we've asked for is inaccuracies to be cleared up. We don't want anything else. I think, God bless Liam, he's been told to say things, and certain things are inaccurate, and we have to protect our business when they're made.
Do you think they'll have a fight each before they meet now, because it's built?
No, I think it will be the next fight, as long as everyone's sensible, I do.
I was watching this situation develop over the weekend and listening to the various protagonists or antagonists in this instance about who, what, when and why. And I listened to a couple of things. I listened to Ben Shalom having a debate with Eddie Hearn about relationships, and Eddie Hearn giving him a lecture about fixing his relationship with Frank Warren, and I went, this is a bloke who didn't speak to him for 15 years. He's giving lectures about how people should get relationships together. Frank and Eddie didn't speak for 15 years, now they're relationship counsellors. But this situation with Liam Cameron and Ben Whittaker, listening to Ben Shalom, and I think Ben needs to get a bit of balls about him and push back a little bit further. I think sometimes he's flaky, but listen to it. You've got Liam Cameron, who's getting a rematch against Ben Whittaker. And the reasons why people are interested in Liam Cameron now is because of Ben Whittaker and what Ben Whittaker didn't deliver in that fight and what people's expectations of him are. So he's now created an opportunity, fair play to him, to get some money and to get some proper dough out of this, because prior to that, there wasn't a great deal of interest in Liam Cameron. You've now got Ben Whittaker, who's a Sky fighter being promoted by Ben Shalom, that's engineered an offer that he rejected, from what I understand, that then came back and said, this is what I want. So Shalom offers him that, and then Frank Warren comes in behind that and offers him more. And somehow Ben Shalom is being painted into a corner where he's got to match another promoter that can't deliver the fight because Ben Whittaker's not his. And also, it reminds me a little bit of Josh Buatsi versus Anthony Yarde, and we'll touch on that in a second. Do you not think that Ben Shalom's getting done up a little bit here by the fact that A, he isn't strong enough, doesn't put people in their place, which I think he should do, and B, that people are playing a bit hard and fast with him, because if Ben can deliver Ben Whittaker and he wants him on Sky, and Liam Cameron has asked for a price, and Shalom gives him the price, and then Cameron takes it across to another promoter and says, can you give me more than that? Shouldn't Shalom have been saying, I'll give you this dough. The only reason you're getting this dough is because you're fighting Ben Whittaker. If you don't take this dough, which is what you asked for, you don't get Ben Whittaker, and he goes and fights somebody else, and that's the end of you.
As simple as that. That basically, when Ben Shalom matched the offer that they were asking for, he should have had it in writing. There it is. That's the one. Sign the papers. We have the fight because we want it on our platform. We're giving you the opportunity to go back in there because he doesn't have to go back into the immediate rematch. Of course, we're talking about damage limitations here with Ben Whittaker.
Spence, hold on a second. That's wonderful you've had an epiphany, but that's not quite what you and Adam Catterall said on Fight Night. And I'm not defending... Let me finish the point.
Yeah.
I'm not defending Ben Shalom.
You never let me finish what I was saying.
I haven't finished the accusation, right? Because I heard you and Adam talk about it, and I'm not defending Ben because people think I think I've got an allegiance to Ben. I've given him some advice in the past. Everyone knows where my relationship starts and begins and ends with him, right? But the point is this, is that if he's done a deal with Cameron, and Cameron then changed it, right? But you lot are now blaming... Basically saying, you and Adam are basically saying that Frank has got the moral high ground, the fighters should get what they want, and the public demands what it wants. But by the way, this is the same public that couldn't get Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn to make a fight for years and years and years. All of a sudden, the only reason we're getting fights made is because the other fellas come along, Turki Alalshikh. So you guys were blaming it solely on Shalom. Isn't this Frank Warren being a little bit clever?
We're talking about from
the fact he's got a bit more dough than Ben Shalom, and the fighter being a little bit clever.
Listen, wasn't blaming anyone at all. What I'm saying is Ben Shalom said they said this is the money that we want. Ben Shalom then matched the offer that they said. He should have got it in writing. That was flaky from him that he didn't get it in writing, because what Liam Cameron's done now is gone to Frank Warren. Frank Warren, in his own right, can say, well, we'll give you more money because we want it on our platform. So now you've caused this problem where Ben should have got it signed, sealed and delivered there, because, of course, Warren's going to want to trump him on that because they want to fight on their platform. I totally understand Ben saying, no, we're Sky. It's Ben Whittaker's giving him the opportunity to go back there because he wouldn't be getting that money. Totally understand that. So I think the problem lies with Ben Shalom not getting it signed, sealed and delivered
How is this for a fighter, Josh? You know, during the summer, I know that you were very keen on the Anthony Yarde fights. And the Willie Hutchinson fight was made to meet certain expectations, to meet certain contractual obligations. I was part of the discussions that were happening between George and Ben. You may or may not know that, but you do now. And the argument was that Ben was trying to get Yarde for you. And there was a dispute between Yarde and Frank Warren. And Frank Warren was telling Ben Shalom to have hands off, which, by the way, is ironic, given that Frank Warren is now trying to make a fight with Ben Whittaker and Liam Cameron because it suits him. But how frustrating for you as a fighter, sitting on the sideline watching all this going on, do you leave it totally in the hands of your promoter and go, right, well, I'm signed with you, I understand what you're trying to achieve, or do you go, right, I'm getting pissed off with this now, I want what I want?
I think there's a bit of both. Yeah, your promoter has to do his job and get you the fight, but I think as fighters, sometimes we have to take things into our hands. And a bit like the Yarde situation, you're right. After I boxed Aziz, I was meant to box Yarde. Then all these legal things came out. So I rang him and I said, look, while you handle that, I'm going to fight Hutchinson, because at the end of the day, it's my career and I need to get on with what I'm doing. So in the interim, I boxed Hutchinson. So with
Keep your powder dry on Yarde. We'll talk about him later on in the show.
So with all of this going on, I think, yes, the boxing needs to take things into their hands. What Cameron has done, I don't think it's necessarily wrong to say, look, this is the offer I've been given. Can you match it? Can you not? I don't think that's a bad thing.
It doesn't go on forever, though, does it? It doesn't turn into a Dutch auction. If someone makes you an offer and then they say, well, no, I don't want that, I want this, and you go, right, well, I'll do that then. They don't get to take it off somewhere else and keep on because you go on forever.
Liam Cameron is essentially taking a gamble because he's going, let's say Ben Shalom's offered him X, Y, Z, the money he wanted. He's then gone to Frank Warren and said, look, Frank, can we do better than this? Because no contracts are signed. So you understand it from both sides.
I get it. It's interesting about legal stuff because the irony of, I think Frank Warren was giving a lecture to Ben Shalom about legal stuff. And if you're going to do something legal, just get on with it and don't do it. In the same Frank Warren that said he was going to sue everybody over the gloves with Fraser Clark and Fabio Wardley. Don't see any writs there. Anyway, these lessons must be really valuable for people. Ben Whittaker, he will be in your rearview mirror. I mean, you're looking at your career. And you're looking about what you want to achieve, and you're not going to be sitting there, you know, studying what Ben Whittaker does. But when you look at him, and you look at that fight with Liam Cameron, do you think in that fight that Ben Whittaker swallowed it?
Simon, I think only he knows.
But you're a fighter. You've got an inkling.
Only he knows. Okay, so my thoughts on that is, look, if it's tough, you have to thug it out. That's all I can say. You have to back down and just fight. Close your eyes, swing it out, whatever you have to do. But deep down, only he knows. I'm not sure what happened, I'll be honest with you. I'm a spectator that's watching it, but only he will actually know.
Listen, the big problem that we've got is that Ben Whittaker, when he fell out of the ring, said that he damaged his ankle, he done all that. And we got Ben Shalom saying, no, it was his neck and it was his back. And the stories are still not matching up now. That's the big problem you've got. So people are obviously going to make judgment on people saying, listen, I think he swallowed it. He didn't want to go back into the fight. The fight weren't going his way. It was turning Liam Cameron's way. You understand it. That's why you have to right the wrongs of that situation and go, right, let's get back into it.
If you were in Ben Whittaker's shoes and this situation had manifested itself and people are making these observations, would your mindset be, irrespective of whether I like it or not, I've got to get back in the ring and deal with this fella now?
Instantly, Simon.
Yeah.
Instantly. You have to do that. And write it. But then, do you know what? In the same breath, as much as you have to do it, in the same breath, you have to sit down and ask yourself, what's the best move for you? That's the first thing I always tell people to do. Think about yourself, what's best for you. If it is the rematch because of the stick you're getting from the public, go into that. If you've got a better offer somewhere else, go into that. But to clear things out, I think, is a rematch.
Have you sparred him?
Ben?
Yeah.
Many, many rounds.
So tell me.
Extremely talented.
What do you think of him?
Extremely talented. One of the most talented light heavies out there, but we've seen that professional boxing isn't 3 rounds. It's 12 rounds, and there's different parts of that 12 rounds. You know, the gloves are smaller, it's more physical. But
Any piss taking going on during sparring?
Say that again?
Any theatricals or any clowning during sparring?
No, back in those days, Ben wasn't like that. But technically he's always been gifted.
Does he carry power? Because the big argument with him, and we've discussed it, and we don't think it's necessary, and Bivol talked about it a moment ago about power, the argument is that he doesn't have the power in this division.
Simon, I think anyone over, I would say 12 stone, not that accurate, but anyone over 12 stone has got power. In them gloves, everything hurts, I think. I think anyone can punch in them gloves. So has he got power? He probably has, yeah.
Listen, small gloves, 10-ounce gloves, hands wrapped, tape. Yeah, I think it's all about punch precision, timing, accuracy. But you do get to a level where you go, you know, at your sort of level where you're world class, people take them shots and you come back and you learn how to ride them and learn how to deal with them. So power is, you have to be able to hit with respect. And I think that was the question that me and Simon were asking and saying the jury's still out on, because we haven't seen him have that effect. Liam Cameron's a classic example. He was walking through those shots.
Look, I think, again, you can't win an Olympic medal if you're not that good.
Yeah.
I stand by that. So,
agree.
And we can't all sit here and deny that Ben's not good.
Oh, no. We think he's remarkably talented.
Yeah, exactly.
We think he's got some... The questions have now got to be asked and answered, because before that, the questions were who likes him and who dislikes him. I always liked him because I think charisma's part of it.
Yeah.
The question now is what happened in this fight, and can you do something about it? Because the backdrop to you to having photo shoots in Milan and being everyone's poster boy is that you've got to go and deliver it in the ring.
Yeah.
And there's a question over you now, whereas before, the only question was, do you finish people? Now the question is, have you got the stomach for it?
I think the question was not if he was going to win a world title, but when he was going to world title. And listen, I'm still sort of standing by that. I think this kid, and I agree with Josh, this kid is multi-talented. Yes, there's this little bump in the road now that he has to overcome. Does he go into the immediate rematch? Does he sort that out? I think he needs to do that to move on, kick on, because we're talking about, we're not just talking about prospects here, we're talking about elite fighters, and we're talking about, you know, people that we're talking about.
And we're sitting next to one as well, who's in the same division.
Absolutely.
So let's not wax too lyrical about Ben in Josh's company. So this weekend we saw a big boxing event that were we invited? Were you invited, Spence?
I was there, mate.
Was you, mate?
Yeah, I was there.
I thought you was a busboy there.
No, I was there. I was there, Simon.
Serving the bread rolls.
Did you not get invited?
Maybe it was just me that's NFI'd with my popularity contest. Big awards function. You were there, Josh. How was the night? Was it good?
No, it was good. It was amazing to be amongst the elites. And one thing I noticed is that there's the elites, and within the elites, there's also
another
elites.
level.
Oh, mate.
So that's something.
Well, like who? Who do you distinguish between the two?
Usyk was there.
Yep.
Canelo was there. There was just these
Royalty.
fighters
Listen,
that I saw.
We're talking past and present. We're talking, you know, Roberto Duran, there, Lennox Lewis.
Roberto Duran was there. It's crazy. Yeah,
Come on, man. That's what I'm saying. There were so many names there, past and present. You're even forgetting about people like Roberto Duran. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is the list was endless. I think the event was insane. For me, in all my time in boxing, I don't think I've been I'm a boxing fan as well. And everybody that was in there, Simon, past and present.
The great and good.
Like Ricky Hatton, going around selfies with everyone. It was like that sort of event where we all become boxing fans. I mean, it was insane. The event was brilliant.
A precursor to the evening was Carl Froch doing an interview with Turki Alalshikh, where we got a reveal from Turki as to what he thinks next about a 5v5.
Yeah.
And more importantly, what he wanted to see as his dream fights. Interesting to see Carl suckling up to the old golf teat. Nice to see him changing his mind. No, Carl, I understand. I suggested that you should be on side with the Saudis, so there you are. But he put together, from Turki Alalshikh's point of view, 5 fights that he wanted to see and wanted to make happen.
Yeah.
And given the fact that he's got the cash to turn out everyone's lights, there's no reason why these fights shouldn't happen. So he listed Canelo versus Crawford, Usyk versus Dubois 2, Fury versus Joshua, Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney, albeit Conor Benn wants a piece of that, doesn't he?
Yeah,
with some of his nonsense.
That.
And Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn.
Yeah.
Which of these fights intrigues you both most?
As a boxing fan, the fight that really intrigues me, I don't know where you're going to go with this, Josh. There you go, there's the little thing. But I'm going Canelo-Crawford is a fight. You know why? Because Crawford is such a genius, such a master technician. I want to see if he can step up and take that challenge against the naturally bigger guy. Because for me, like, you know, when you look at pound-for-pound fighters and standouts, modern legacies, for me, Crawford, man. But I love all those fights.
Which one intrigues you
with
most?
number 3, Fury and Joshua. The 2 giants in this country. In brackets, we have to mention Bakole now. I think we always have to do that. But I think Fury and Joshua is something that, if it happens, the country will go mad.
Yeah, I agree, mate. And if another fight happens, Eubank versus Ben, the country will go mad as well, because I think it's captured the public imagination with the controversy surrounding Conor Benn and, you know, the foul tests coming back. The fight's probably bigger now than it was even back then. And I think that, Simon, I'm hearing news of that news could break today that fight is being made. And I think that we could get that in a stadium, possibly Tottenham Hotspur.
I mean, the debate shouldn't be, and it won't be, that technically the most intriguing fight of them lot is Canelo versus Crawford, as we were talking about, and that looks like that fight's been made. The only thing I don't like about it is that there's different weight classes. I always want to see people have a backdrop where it's an equal landscape, and so that there is no debate about whether one fighter was disadvantaged coming down a weight class or whether one fighter was advantaged or disadvantaged by going up a weight class.
Yeah.
But the one that interests me most is the idea that we get Dubois versus Usyk 2, assuming that Daniel comes past Joseph Parker. And I'm going to ask you your opinion on a second about how he does in that fight, Josh. But for me, I don't know about you, Spence, I look at all of these fights, and for varying reasons, I have a degree of reticence about them. The Fury versus Joshua fight, to me, I don't care what people think, it is the battle. They're not losers about what they've achieved in their career, but they're on the back of losses. So we're not talking about 2 guys that are, besides their reputations and their previous deeds, that are at the forefront of the way the industry's going. I'm not interested, I never have been interested in Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. I think it's a battle of their fathers' names.
Yeah, but it's about what captures the public imagination and the casual. And you talk about, like, Fury Joshua.
I get it.
By the way, Fury Joshua, I'm hearing, is well under
I don't doubt it.
for negotiations
because the money's in the room.
summer, Wembley Stadium.
The money's in the room. But the fight that I'm looking forward to is Dubois versus Usyk, because I think this version of Daniel Dubois, I think we'll see him reinforce the position with Joseph Parker. I think to have come through the fights he's come with, against Hrgovic specifically, and to deal with Anthony Joshua the way he did, catapults him into a different perspective and perhaps crystallises the Daniel Dubois that we were told about 4 or 5 years ago was going to arrive. So it's the Dubois versus Usyk fight that I'm looking forward to. How do you think Dubois goes against Joseph Parker?
I think stylistically it's quite an interesting one. Parker's a smaller heavyweight, but quick hands, good boxer, good power. I don't think it will be as easy as we think it's going to be.
It's a banana skin, mate.
I mean, Duke McKenzie said to me he knocks him out.
Who, Duke McKenzie said?
Duke McKenzie, I'm pretty sure, in fact I know he did, said that he felt that Daniel Dubois knocks out Joseph Parker, no doubt.
That's a possibility. Yeah. But if he doesn't knock Joseph Parker out, Joseph Parker's been in with them all, mate, and he's taken some flush on the chin. He manages to get up. Remember the 11th round, was it, against Dillian Whyte, when he went down heavily, he got up and won the 12th round the way he does. The guy's got character, he's got balls, he's tough, and that is what you go, if he takes Dubois in those late rounds, it's going to become very interesting.
What do you think about the mentality of Daniel Dubois going into the ring, calling out Usyk before he's dealt with Joe Parker? What was your reaction to that? Do you think he's in any danger that he's potentially distracted by something else?
No, I just think that it shows that he's oozing confidence. He's one of those fighters that has grown as a fighter since becoming champion. I think that, you know, that I always talk about this, that Usyk loss actually was the moulding of him. Yeah. I felt that's where he recognised that he could compete at a certain sort of level. He's still very young, 27 years of age. And you look at that and you go, the victories over Hrgovic and Anthony Joshua, especially Joshua at Wembley Stadium, you know, KO round 5, you go, I think he's just grown in personality. And I think that Joshua, I ask you that question, like that, you know, having that confidence transforms into performances in the ring, right?
It does, especially, see Dubois, the performance against Hrgovic, hats off to him, because it was a punishing fight. He was taking a lot of punishment, but he overcame that, stopped him, I think, I don't know what round it was, but in the later rounds.
8th round?
In the 8th round, got the stoppage, and then went to Wembley to do what he did. A confidence fight is a dangerous fighter. And even in the AJ fight, it was his entrance to the ring. I was on the phone with Lawrence, and Lawrence was like, Josh, this guy, he said he's a killer. He said, how he's walking in, he's a killer.
It was the Terminator, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Spence, in your best version of Inspector Clouseau saying that Wembley's been booked.
Yeah.
I don't think it's been reserved for Fury versus Joshua, judging by this.
Hi everybody, I'm going to make this short and sweet. I'd like to announce my retirement from boxing. It's been a blast. I've loved every single minute of it, and I'm going to end with this. Dick Turpin wore a mask. God bless everybody. See you on the other side. Get up!
Right. Interesting news. Mr. Fury doing the dance of the 7 Veils, playing hide and seek with himself again.
Okay.
Do we believe this? We've heard this before. He didn't pay his £1 million bet to Piers Morgan last time round. He said he was going to retire and came back.
Do I think that Tyson Fury boxes again? Yes. I don't think it's the last we've seen of him. I understand that he may be saying that now, but I believe we still get the fight. I really do.
What do you think he's alluding to? I mean, trying to work out what's in Tyson's mind is probably
Tyson's one of those
more difficult than solving, you know, Pythagoras' theory. But when he talks about highway robbery, do we think he's talking about the verdict of the Usyk-Fury second fight, where he was obviously unhappy that he doesn't think he lost? Or is he talking about the amount of money that he's managed to extract from the sport? I doubt it. Or is he talking about a commercial discussion where maybe he needs more money to get in a ring?
Could be a combination of all three of those, to be fair. I mean, he felt that he won that fight against Oleksandr Usyk. I think most people felt that Usyk won the fight, but he still felt he won that one. He's earned a lot of money from the sport. Sure. He's earned a hell of a lot of money from the sport at a time, you know, he was there at the right time. Is that what he's talking about? Who knows? But I'm sure we still get AJ Fury. I think that Fury's one of those characters, you don't know what side of the bed he gets out of. And you know, one day, it's not the first time that he said that he's retired from boxing. So let's see what happens. Watch his face. But
Josh, I mean, we've seen this dance before. When he's done it before, he's been on top. So when he announced after the Dillian White fight, that's me done, he went out on his own terms, i.e. with an unblemished record. When he did it before, after the Klitschko fight, when he had his sabbatical for lots of different reasons, on his terms. This is a different dynamic, isn't it? This is a vanquished fighter slightly in terms of 2 losses back to back. What do you make?
Hard to say what he's going to do next, but I think he will have some time off, and hopefully we can still get AJ and Fury.
Do you think we'll see him in the ring again?
I think so, personally, yeah, I think so.
Do you think, I mean, I know this is probably a slightly over-egging the pudding. Do you think that the heavyweight division is going to be bereft of personality if you don't have Tyson Fury in there? Because Oleksandr Usyk is the consummate professional. And I do give him his flowers. I do think he's a brilliant, brilliant fighter. There's no doubt about it. But when it comes to personality, I don't always like Tyson Fury's personality. I think that, you know, perhaps he can just be pleasant with his bipolarity rather than unpleasant. But notwithstanding it, he doesn't. But he's a personality. And when Tyson Fury is in full flow, there's no more charismatic athlete than him. Do you think he's going to be, if he does indeed hang his gloves up, do you think this will be a body blow for the heavyweight division?
I think he'll be sorely missed, without a doubt. It's not just that he's a big personality and he sells fights so well and he's a big character, and the press conferences, the build-up to fights and what he delivers in the ring. The guy is a serious talent, and he'll be missed when he's retired. That is for sure. I think we're in the twilight of the careers now of this current crop of heavyweights, like Anthony Joshua, like Oleksandr Usyk, like Tyson Fury. I think that, you know, 2025 could be the year we see the end of all of them and the new generation coming through. But if he retires right now without getting the fight like Anthony Joshua, a fight that the public, the casual fan, has craved, I think it's going to be a big loss.
So neither of you are having the idea that Fury probably is going to stay retired.
No.
But if he does, where does that leave Anthony Joshua? Because he's made his position clear, right? They don't want him to fight Daniel Dubois. For whatever reason Eddie Hearn wants to trot out, right, that he needs to be the best version of himself, they don't want that fight right now. Right? They wanted Fury, and we know why they want Fury, because it ticks all the economic boxes that a fight of this magnitude will produce. But given that his dance partner is nowhere to be seen right now, where does it leave Anthony?
He boxes in Africa against Martin Bakole. That's where I believe it happens.
You think he'll fight Bakole?
Absolutely.
Do you?
In Africa, yeah.
You think he'll fight Bakole?
Why'd you look so surprised?
Because I felt and feel. Well, I'll tell you why.
Let me tell you something.
I'll tell you why.
Let me tell you something about Anthony Joshua.
Same reason that Billy Nelson has told everybody this. Nobody wants to fight him.
Yeah, no, but let me tell you
everybody
something about
wants to
Anthony
avoid him.
Joshua.
There's too much aggravation.
Let me tell you something about Anthony Joshua, and he recognises now he's in the twilight of his career. Anthony Joshua will box any heavyweight in the world. That is a fact. And that's why I say Martin Bakole in Africa, where they're creating a bit of history, going back to the Rumble in the Jungle all those years ago. Anthony Joshua, he'll want to do things like that. I know that will give him the incentive. And that's why I believe if the Fury fight doesn't happen, mark my words, we get Joshua versus Bakole in Africa.
Right. So they'll reserve a stadium in Africa and
Possibly.
you'll be across that.
Possibly, but I'll let you know. And I'll let you know what stadium it is.
What do you think of Bakole, Josh?
I think he's the one.
So do I.
Yeah, I think he's the one. Thing is, I've seen him spar for many, many years, but his coach Billy was very confident about him, and I haven't seen a coach be that vocal and confident about a fighter. But then when he gets in the ring, he demonstrates.
He's a class.
And I think his last fight, yes, got a lot of hype about it, but I think if given the opportunity that he deserves, he'll show us that he's the real deal.
Do you think that is the roadmap for both of those fighters? If Fury retires and Joshua's looking for a dance partner, do you think that is a possibility that he takes that gamble to box Bakole in Africa?
I think so, but it's also what Bakole's going to do, because I think he's in an IBF final eliminator, and I think the winner gets the winner of Parker and Dubois. So for him, it's do I want the world title or do I want to make history in Africa?
There you go.
Do you think, given that the observations that you guys make, for example, on Fight Night, about what fans are entitled to and what they're not entitled to, that there's an element of responsibility from Tyson Fury to the British boxing fans to fight Joshua?
I think that it would be a terrible shame if, because like we saw in Tyson Fury's last fight against Oleksandr Usyk, there hasn't been a massive decline in his performances. He's still pretty much at the top of his game. He's clearly the number 2 heavyweight in the world still right now. And if he doesn't give us that fight, you know, for a fan's perspective, modern legacies,
Sorry, can
if
I
we don't get that
just ask
fight...
you a quick, why is he the number 2 heavyweight? You've got a current heavyweight champion in Daniel Dubois. So why do you not give Daniel Dubois the cachet that he deserves? Because he was probably the person that gave Usyk as much trouble as anybody did at a different stage in his career. He's the current IBF heavyweight champion. Well, why is it an automatic assumption in your mind that Fury from deeds of the past...
It's an opinion that Tyson Fury, it was a very close fight against Oleksandr Usyk. Tyson Fury, for me, still holds number 2 spot.
Do you agree with that, Josh?
In heavyweight
Dubois
boxing.
has the belt.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I'm not saying that, but I'm talking about, right, so say if Dubois was boxing Fury next now, do you think
Dubois has
wins?
a belt. No, he has a belt.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about where I rank him, not like in because you've got a belt, I've got to rank you number 1, 2, 3. I'm saying
he's got a belt.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about, but he's not boxed Fury.
He's got a belt.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. That's not the argument.
Fury hasn't boxed him either, but you're still giving Fury...
Yeah, that's not the argument.
Majority of
what I'm saying is, in my opinion, he's the second best. If they were all going to fight it out right now, Oleksandr Usyk's
even Josh
1.
doesn't agree with it. And he's on your side.
But I'm talking about my personal opinion. I think right now, he's number 2, second best heavyweight in the world. If you're saying because he's not world champion.
Let's just attend to your number 2 heavyweight in the world. If he ducks Anthony Joshua, he's going to have to live with that ramification. Bragging rights has been a big part of... You've made this observation. I don't think bragging rights... Money, right? If you give Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury 2 and 6, they won't give a about bragging rights. They want to get paid for this fight, right? So it's the money that drives this fight, right? But if Fury retires and doesn't fight Joshua, and Joshua's walking around demanding this fight, which he seems to be, doesn't that now catapult in the history of British fighters during this generation,
Yes.
for the purpose of a media-based argument, which is what this is, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't that elevate Anthony Joshua to the status that Tyson Fury once afforded for himself only, i.e. the best fighter of his generation, the best British fighter of his generation?
Yeah, that's why I said that he needs to take this fight, and that's why I think that it's a fight for not just for him and his legacy, but for the fans as well. That's why I think he needs to do that.
Joining us now ahead of one of the most eagerly awaited rematches is the former light heavyweight champion of the world, looking to gain back the titles that he lost after Beterbiev, which is Dmitrii Bivol. Dmitrii, thanks for joining us. Nice to see you.
Hello.
Dmitrii, straight out of the gate, obviously the first fight was one of the biggest fights in boxing. This rematch, of course, will again be one of the biggest fights in boxing. I want to gauge what you felt after the first fight. Did you think you won it? And what were the reactions and emotions directly after the fight?
You know, I try to not think about this way that I won, I lost. I'm trying to see only my good sides, which I did on this fight, my bad sides, which I did, and I'm trying to be focused now on my good sides. I try to improve it. I try to be better for my next fight.
But you were, I want to make the point again, because you were very dignified. In a lot of fights, when fighters have decisions that don't go their way, there isn't a lot of dignity, there are not a lot of credit. But was there a great sense of disappointment from you? Because people can look at this fight, there's a camp that believes that you won it, there's a camp that believes that Beterbiev won it. Did you think you won it, though, Dmitrii? And were you very disappointed in the ring?
And in the ring, when I was going to my corner, I had good feelings inside of me that I had this trip, long years, and now it's done. And I had a good moments, and I felt like I did good job. But at the same time, I had feelings that maybe I didn't something well. And that's it. And this thoughts, of course, I had these thoughts like I won, but then I just immediately forget about it because it doesn't matter. I could feel something, but the judges could see something different. And now it's just I don't want to talk about it like. Judges, decisions, and all of it. I have another chance, and I'm happy that Turki Alalshikh gave it to me, this chance, and he gave it to boxing fans also, because I see that boxing fans wants to see this fight again.
Yeah, Dmitrii, I think there was a high boxing IQ in that contest, and it was, there was mixed feelings on who people felt won the fight. Was it the aggression of Beterbiev? Was it, the technical boxing of yourself? I'm going to ask you, what have you learnt about Beterbiev that you didn't know before the first fight?
To be honest, everything what was in the ring, I expect before, and now I learn about myself something, which I don't want to talk about, because only after my second fight we will talk. And about Beterbiev, I thought he will use his power. He used it. I knew that he will push me. He will move forward a lot. He did it. It just that feelings which you had against such opponent. You can expect something, but when you went through it, it's something different.
Yeah, Dmitrii, talk to me a little bit about your training camp, and what you've had to change in this training camp. Have you changed anything in this training camp from the first one? Because, like I say, technically, you was pretty spot on. What differences will you have to make?
Yeah, of course. I changed something. My team changed something. We add something. More like adding, not changing.
Dmitrii, you talk about learning lessons, and we all learn lessons in life from experiences. Now, this was a situation where you lose your first fight, you lose it on a great stage. What kind of lessons do you learn from yourself in that situation? What have you taken from that first defeat, whether you think you lost or you didn't?
I just need to be I just need to throw more punches. I need to throw more punches first, yeah, and I have to be focused all 12 rounds, which I did, but I have to work more actions. This is what I learned.
Do you, I mean, the big question about you is, over the years, people have watched you and become acutely conscious of how good a fighter you are. When we saw you fight Craig Richards back in the day, people felt that Craig Richards could have imposed himself more in that fight and might have had a better opportunity if he'd have been a bit bolder. And then we saw you against Canelo Alvarez and the world changed, not necessarily through your eyes, but through other people's eyes. But the big question about you with Beterbiev, Dmitrii, is about punch power and the ability to be able to back him up and stop him from imposing himself in the way that possibly he's done on most of his opponents. Do you think you've got the punch power to be able to deal with him? And do you think you need to stop him to win this fight?
I think that I have to create more successful moments to win him. I had these moments in the first fight, but I just need to create much more moments like this. And about power, I feel that I have enough power to stop any boxer in my weight division. It's enough power. It's just about to deliver this punching powers.
Dmitrii, we've got
powers punching.
Sorry, Dmitrii, we've got Josh Buatsi in the studio, who apparently in previous opportunities had an opportunity to fight you, but now we're talking about Josh in the studio having an opportunity to address you. Josh, I think you want to talk to Dmitrii and add your 2 pence into this conversation.
I think there's not much to say. I know he's preparing for a rematch, a big rematch. The best man will win, and I look to fight who's next. Nothing personal to him or to Beterbiev. A message to deliver, there's nothing. The better man will win, and I hope I'm next.
If you have an opportunity, Josh, and I'm sure you'll get one, who would you prefer to fight, Dmitrii, or would you prefer to fight Artur?
I don't have a preference. It's more of who's going to have the belts. I think both men have shown that they have good attributes. If you go for Beterbiev, you know what to expect. If you go for Bivol, you know what to expect. But it's more of who's going to have the belts. So good luck to both men on the weekend.
Dmitrii, I want to ask you a question off the back of that, actually. I mean, we know that Joshua Buatsi, Callum Smith boxed on the undercard of this great event on the 22nd of February. If Joshua Buatsi comes through against Callum Smith, you come through against Artur Beterbiev, is Buatsi next?
You know, I'm focused only on my fight. I don't think about who I'm gonna fight next, and I just don't care about it. I can fight any fighter in my weight division. Doesn't matter who. Callum Smith, Joshua Buatsi, doesn't matter. But I'm focused on my fight now.
Dmitrii, listen, thank you very much for joining us. There's a great deal of respect from all of us in the studio about the way that you conduct yourself, and good luck on February the 22nd.
Yeah, thank you so much, thank you.
Josh, you must have a view on this fight. I mean, you would have seen the first fight. Before the fight, the first fight, who did you pick?
Before, my mind kept on changing, but I will say one thing. Being there in person, I had Bivol actually winning.
Did you?
And I actually had him win the fight. Yeah, a lot of people said, you know what, Beterbiev won, but being
You should have told him that.
No, well, he thought he won or whatever. I don't really care about that. But I think being there in person, the feel I got in the atmosphere was Bivol did well. He won. Beterbiev finished well, but everyone had Bivol winning the fight.
See, I was there in person as well.
What did you think?
But I thought that Beterbiev won. You know, I thought that's being serious. And I had him actually winning by, I can't remember if it was two rounds.
But we picked Beterbiev before the fight as well,
but,
though,
we did. But what I think, the fight was at such a high quality that it was subjective scoring, what you're going for, because Beterbiev was great at that last 30 seconds, turning it on and maybe just catching it and thinking, close round that, I'll go Beterbiev. Yeah. It was one of those fights that could have been won and lost there, and we can see that again.
Yeah.
Right, let's get back to Turkey's wish list, and one that's been reverberating for some time and has a lot of British interest, which is Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. They've both been speaking to TalkSport over the weekend. Let's have a listen to them both.
I've said yes to the Barrios fight for the WBC World title. I've also said yes to Eubank. So the reality is I'm sitting in a lovely position. Whoever wants it can get it.
And are you waiting for them to make the decision?
I'm waiting for my team to do the rest. I stayed in the gym, I stay ready. Just give me 6 weeks, I'm ready for any of them.
Is 2025 headed towards a world title or a bloodline lineage showdown in your view?
2025 is it's 12 months. That means that there is everything. Everything is going to be involved in 2025. World titles, massive fights. It's all to come. I want to be active. I want to fight at least 3 times this year.
With your propensity for getting all these things right, Spence, you think this fight's next, don't you?
I think it happens next year. Conor Benn is in this position where the fight against Barrios for the WBC title down at 147, that is there, and they've got that in waiting, right? That's there. I'm not sure where Chris Eubank's at with potentially getting a world title fight, and it's down to Eubank to agree the terms, which I believe he's going to do, to fight Conor Benn next, and Conor then put the Barrios fight aside, and he will box Eubank. And I believe
that's
Shalom
sitting there with his green hat on, with a cash till working out how much
I think we get that in sort of April time. It's a stadium fight as well.
What did you think of, as an aside, Turki Alalshikh in the conversation with Carl Froch about the idea that he'd offered Calzaghe a fight with Froch? What did you make of that?
Stop this. I can't.
Frochy saw pound notes there, didn't he?
Like, what,
Frochy saw pound notes there, didn't he?
Yeah, Calzaghe's 51, 52. Listen, great legends of the sport, British icons in many ways. Don't want to see him in the ring again, man. That'd be terrible. What was that film? Robert De Niro. Grudge Match. Yeah,
Grudge Match. Yeah, Robert De Niro and Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. So look, let the new generation, let Joshua Buatsi and have his time, and the new generation. Let's appreciate that. Don't want to go over old ground watching Froch and Calzaghe. It'd be a sad spectacle. I don't want to.
Right. Well, let's talk about Josh. Let's talk about you. February 22nd in Riyadh. You're in training camp now. How's it going?
It's been good. We had to come back for this break. Well, not a break, but this whole media run. But it's been all right. Spent Christmas, New Year out there. But I think we've got 6 weeks left, so it's been good.
I saw you in your thorb last time you were out there.
In my what?
In your robe.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Ingratiating yourself.
Have to, yeah.
Indeed.
Getting ready for it.
What do you think of Callum Smith? I mean, I all the Smith brothers I like.
Yeah.
I like Paul, I like Stephen, I like Liam and Callum. They've all achieved things in boxing. Callum Smith isn't a 2-weight world champion, like I said last week. He's a 2-belt world champion in terms of Ring Magazine and WBC, I think.
Yeah. When
I spoke to Callum earlier on in the year, he was talking about possibly going up a weight class, possibly not fighting again. But it's a good opponent for you, I think. And what do you make of it all? What do you think of him?
I think it's a good opponent. Someone that was champion in the super middleweight division, comes from a boxing family. Good guys, but now he's an opponent. So that's what I'm looking forward to, the test, the challenge, and the fight itself. So
that's what it is. It's a test and a challenge, isn't it? Because Callum Smith has been at elite level. He's boxed at the highest level. And this is a chance now for you to prepare yourself before going on to win world titles. These are the sort of tests that you need against, ex-champions like Callum Smith, who still, carries, that danger with him as well.
Yeah, look, every opponent to me is dangerous. So
yeah, of course.
This is another opponent that I've got to get through. And, all focus and everything is towards February 22nd. I know the Yarde question is coming up, but, as you can imagine, a bit like Bivol out there. That's why I didn't say anything to Bivol, because like he said, he's thinking about Bivol as he should be, and I'm thinking about Smith. That's who I got.
Is it important for you, with someone like Callum Smith, to go and make a statement? I mean, that Willie Hutchinson fight, I think people felt you made a statement in that fight. I think eventually, after a difficult fight with Dan Aziz, you made the statement. Right? So for you, when you go into a fight like the February 22nd fight card, you're at the bottom of the bill, but it doesn't matter. You're on this bill, but notwithstanding it, do you feel the pressure to be able to go in there because you've got Turki Alalshikh sitting across the apron, looking across the canvas at you, wanting to potentially support people's careers, and you being in a situation where the next fight out for you is a meaningful fight in terms of perhaps a world title shot? Is it important to make a statement, or do you just go, I got to get the job done? I don't care how I do it. I got to get the job done.
Simon, most importantly, if you don't get the job done, then
The rest is
you can't
academic.
you can't have these conversations. So it is to get the job done. Yes, there's the pressures of whoever's around, but there's also the pressures from my coaches.
Yeah.
Doing what I'm being taught in the gym. That's where I feel the pressure. And once I can deliver there, then everyone around will be impressed. So that's kind of how I see it. Impress my coaches and everyone else will be impressed.
Well, you just mentioned it a moment ago, and it's the one fight that keeps on being talked about in conjunction with you. And I know it's a fight that you want, which is the fight with Anthony Yarde. Anthony Yarde was in the studio with me and Spencer a few months ago. Let's listen to what Anthony said during that conversation.
I've said it openly, you know, different promoters can approach me or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
But then these fights are not happening. They're taking other routes. I've spoken to Buatsi personally. So as Tunde said, you're the friend of the friend. You're a third party. You're hearing what other people are saying. And for me, the fight, there's no reason on my side.
Yeah.
This fight cannot be made.
Right, Josh. I think in that clip, it talks about the fight being made, but it doesn't show the bit where he, I think, attributes the fact that it's down to your end. You don't want this fight. I don't agree with that, and I said to him at the time I don't agree with it because I know the discussions that were going on. Does this fight, do you want this fight, and does this fight happen in 2025?
I hope it happens this year. I saw Yarde, I think, on the weekend, and I said to him, you should always do what you're going to do because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do what I have to do, which is to keep active, to have these guaranteed fights and purses that are available to myself. I said, in the meantime, do what you're doing. I hope I definitely see you down the road and I hope that happens, but there's no way I'm gonna hit a pause button to make sure someone gets their stuff sorted out. No way. I'm gonna always do what I'm doing. And like I said, after the Aziz fight, all these things came out about him and Warren. Cool, sort that out. But in the interim, I'm gonna do what I'm doing.
Do you want this fight, or does it matter to you whether you fight Anthony Yarde? Does it matter to you that you beat Callum Smith, you got a world title shot more importantly?
That's the route that matters to me. Beat Smith, fight for a world title. My career and what I do is not based on fighting Anthony Yarde.
No.
It's at the end of it, I want to say, guys,
But it's a fight that
I
gets,
want a world
the
title.
economics of it are right though, aren't they, potentially?
It's true, but in the interim as well, I have to keep fighting these good guys and I have to, most importantly, remember the goal. When I turned pro, Simon, it wasn't to fight Yarde. And
No,
to get
of course, it was to
big
win a world
pay.
title.
Exactly, so
Yeah.
if I'm getting closer to that, I'm going to keep stepping closer to that.
I'm going to give you an option on this. So we get the undisputed title fight and better be a Bivol. That fight happens again. Do any of them titles then fragment and become vacant, and we could see a situation where you and Yarde box for a vacant belt? Is that a possibility?
That'd be beautiful.
Yeah.
That'd be beautiful.
Is your brief, final question for you on this, because this is about you, is your brief and your instruction to your promoter, subject to you winning Callum Smith, which obviously you believe you will win, is your brief to the promoter that you have in situ at this moment in time, which is Ben Shalom, get me a world title shot in 2025, I expect to be fighting for a world title?
That's what
End
it
of
is.
discussion.
End of discussion.
Right, well, that's something for us to look forward to. Right, that's it for episode 103 of Talk Boxing with Simon Jordan and Spencer Oliver. Thanks, Spence and Josh. Thanks for joining us. Good luck on February the 22nd.
Very much.
And we'll see you guys next time we're out.